Lyric deacon speaking the truth. Make you giggle like a tickle or a nipple tweaking. Cause I'm spicy like a freaking. It's neither here nor there. Fully charging up the air. Heavy sounds getting thicker like the atmosphere.
Check 1, 2. All right, all right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to be here with you today. Thank you for coming, and especially these two gentlemen to my right. First, I want to tell you a little bit about our series that we're doing right now at KQED called That's My Word. Bay Area hip hop is extraordinary. Like, it's flamboyant, it's political, it's multicultural, it's high energy, it's staunchly independent, it never asks for permission, and it's the product of pimps and hustlers just as much as it is the product of like activists and intellectuals. It has had an outsized influence on the rest of the country. And yet, Bay Area hip hop has long been overlooked. So some of you may have heard this factoid about the year 2023, that it is the 50th anniversary of the birth of hip hop in the Bronx. Cool Herc's back to school party. And so for this year at KQED, myself, Eric Arnold, Pendarvis Harshaw, Nastya Voinovskaya have joined together to bring you a year-long exploration of Bay Area hip-hop history to finally tell the story of the incredible culture that has happened here. So that is online at bayareahiphop.com. You'll hear us on forum. There will be events throughout the year. We have a trivia night coming up. But that's the URL, bayareahiphop.com, all through the year. Now, a big piece of this history is sitting right next to me in the form of Latyrx Born. Give it up, give it up. And Lateef, the True Speaker. Together known as Latyrx from the Soul Sides and Quantum Collective. So let's get into it. We have a half hour. Bay Area hip hop. What, in your own words, what makes Bay Area hip hop special?
You are so good at this question.
I think that the Bay Area has always been a hodgepodge of a lot of different cultures and communities. And you see a reflection of that in Bay Area hip hop in a way that you don't in a lot of the other parts of the country. So here you have early on contributing. You have folks of all different cultures, you know. You got the Invisible Scratch Pickles, which have been holding down the Bay for a long time. Yeah, give it up.
Scratch Pickles.
Scratch Pickles. Obviously you have, you know, Too Short, Dell, MC Hammer. But those three styles right there, Too Short is his gangster and pimpish as guest. You get MC Hammer, who is the blueprint for what Puff Daddy did, you know? Just the idea that you could take over the world with your music. And it didn't matter that you were from the Bay Area. That's part of the Bay Area identity, I feel like, musically. Dell, just extreme creativity. You know, spawned a whole... I sound the way that I do because of Dell. Yeah. And just Richie Rich. I sound the way I do because of Richie Rich. I sound the way I do because of all of those people. But the fact that you have all of those different styles, all of those different kind of slants and takes on it are what set the stage for what we do. And the way that you can, you know, you can improve on perfection once you have perfection. You can go try something different and expand and grow in a different way. And I think that's a lot of what Latyrx was. It was kind of, we had this really, really firm bedrock to build on. And we were able to kind of make something that was a super, super deviation from what everybody else was doing. Yeah, something really unique.
I told you he was good at that question.
One thing we find in Bay Area hip hop is this really, really rich tradition of the independent hustle. Like whether it's Too Short and Freddie B selling tapes out of the trunk, or DIY collectives like Hieroglyphics and Living Legends. You came together in the 1990s at this incredible scene around KDVS, the radio station at UC Davis, and you became a major part of this lineage of independent collectives. Can you tell people a little bit about that?
I was just keep it
Yeah,
keep it going. Yes, thank you. No, I mean absolutely, and I think part of the you can't really talk about music, in particular hip hop in the Bay Area, without talking about this independent spirit, and then the label and music movement that spawned from that, and it really has to do with the uniqueness of the region, because you just have this intersectionality of, free thought and politics and like Lateef was saying, culture and history, and you have all these dynamics that kind of converge, and we have this very special culture. And the other thing that I think is notable is that we're not in New York, we're not in LA. So when we started Quantum and Soul Sides, it wasn't because we wanted to set the world on fire as executives, or nobody else would put our music out. We had no choice. If we didn't put it out, nobody else would.
All the big labels were in LA and New York. There wasn't the infrastructure here, is what you're saying.
That's right. So it was more so a matter of necessity than it was really that was the desirable career path for us. We tried to shop demos. We tried to do all that, and we got turned down everywhere. So at that time, I think it was probably like 91, 92, Jeff Chang, who was like our mentor. Is Jeff here? Shout out to Jeff Chang.
DJ Zen.
Yeah. I mean, he had the idea. He was finally like, okay, you have $500 in student loans, which is probably like $5,000 now, And he was like, and you have, I don't know, $100 that your mother gave you to go buy textbooks, you know what I mean? And I could probably get another $300, $400. We took that money. We went to Dan the Automator's studio. We which was in his mother's basement. He was living at home at the time. Like, we would be doing sessions, and you'd hear his mother go, Dan, like for those there. And we recorded that music with that money, and we put out our own 12 inches, and we sat there and we stuck the labels on we were sitting on the street. There's photos of this. It was us, Joseph Patel, who later went on to win a Grammy and an Oscar for Summer of Soul.
Yeah.
And Jeff and Shadow and Lateef and me and Black Alicious, and we were sticking labels on the records, and we went to every record store, and people were like, "Can we curse today? Is that a?"
Maybe we shouldn't.
Okay, let's not. Let's go ahead and
half the people are like, "Yeah, go for it."
And all these stores took our vinyl on consignment.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know if anybody's going to buy this stuff, but we'll take it.
They did, though.
Yeah.
They did, though. I mean, I worked at a record store around that time, and we just, sold Soul Sides and Quantum stuff out the door, it was flying off the shelves. That collective was really special. Like you mentioned, Jeff Chang, who went on to write the book Can't Stop, Won't Stop, the definitive history of hip-hop in America. Jazzbo, Joseph Patel, who won an Oscar, with Questlove for producing the Summer of Soul documentary. Shadow, DJ Shadow, no introduction there. But I think the heart of that collective really was embodied by you two with Latyrx, with this. The whole collective had this fiercely creative thrust. It was like nothing was going to get in your way of doing something different. You could make a dance song like Lady Don't Techno, and you could also, you were the first group that I, and probably many other people, these guys recorded a song where they were rapping two completely different raps at the same time. One guy in this speaker, one guy in this speaker at the same time, and still made it sound totally dope. And that was revolutionary. I'd never heard anyone in hip hop do that before. And your beats and your lyrics, there's this experimentalism I guess. And I wonder if that was intentionally, like, was it part of a bigger mission? Were you like, hip hop needs to go in different directions? Or were you just like
I think
tripping and like, fulfilling your own whims?
Okay, so I want to say two things. One is, as far as the independent, spirit of the Bay Area, this guy still doing it, just full steam. You know what I mean? And I think that Lyrics Born is also an embodiment of that drive. So there's that. But I'll say that I also feel like we were young, right? We were young. We had peers that were successful, because I went to middle school with a bunch of the High Road cats. All the Living Legend cats went to high school with me. Same with Lyrics Born. We have a lot of the same friends from high school. So we had seen supreme levels of success from people who were our peers and our friends that we knew, it wasn't like an unattainable goal. So there was that part of it, which I think made for us in some ways a little bit naive around the chances of our success. We didn't know what we didn't know. Yeah. So there was that part to it. But then there's another part too where I feel like artistically at a young age, we had really big vocabularies. We used to go to KDVS and listen to record after record after record after record after record after record, and we would be inspired. We'd be sharing records with each other and the samples and where the sample came from, and the people in that band also played in this group, and we just had really big palettes, and we're bursting to share them all. And so I think that on those records, what you see are artists that want to show that they're good at everything. And so we just, even things that you might not even care if we were good at, we were going to show you we were good at that too. And so as a result, we were confident going off into these other places. I feel like both of us now, when we make records, we'll just pick one of those songs and do a whole album of that sound and really explore the sound. Whereas when we were younger, it was like, we're going to throw this one and the other one and the third one and then this one, and then we're going to do some other stuff that's crazy off the wall. We're going to put that on there, and then we need one more song. What are we going to do? Let's go into freestyle. And it was like that, you know? It was just very like, it was genius. I look back and I'm like, man, this kid was crazy. Yeah. Made a bunch of decisions I wouldn't make now. But we were very supportive, and like we fed each other that energy to go for it. Yeah, let's go. And we were learning from each other. We would freestyle. Somebody would do a style. You'd be like, you had something there. They'd be like, I don't remember what I said. Yeah. You start doing it. Yeah. Killing it. They'd be like, ooh, that was good. Wait, I could do it even better though. And we would just build with each other in a way that was super supportive of that diversity that you hear on those records.
Right. You mentioned the diversity and multiculturalism within Bay Area hip hop, and right out of the gate, Soul Sides and Latyrx just reflected that multiculturalism of the Bay Area. Lyrics Born, you're Japanese American, born in Tokyo, raised in Berkeley.
Damn right.
And Lateef has got more. You're half black, half Puerto Rican, with Algerian, and there's like a mighty family history there. Louisiana's involved.
Yep.
How would you say that your personal identities come through in your music, or do they?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, of course. And I think if you, the thing that was really interesting about the Bay Area, and particularly Soul Sides and Quantum in the early 90s, is that, I mean, you can really look at Soul Sides and Quantum, our collective. It's kind of a case study in sort of like how multicultural groups can really succeed. It's in the same way that we had probably the most diverse collective of professional musicians, successful professional musicians, maybe in history of music.
Right.
Period. I mean, and
black, white, Indian, mixed,
Japanese,
every
Chinese, Italian, Algerian,
every single food
Puerto
group
Rican,
was represented.
Deliciousness.
It's like an episode of Sesame Street.
Electric Company.
Okay, Electric Company. You're right.
Sorry, is there
minus Bill Cosby?
Yeah, right. Ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh.
And I'm going to add to this question of of cultural diversity. And I'm just going to point out that, one of the things that I was always impressed by with Latyrx Born from the first time that I met him was his originality. Even when we were really young, I would say maybe, no, I can't really be. Latyrx Born found his voice very early, and it didn't sound like anybody else's voice. I learned stuff working with Latyrx Born early on. And it's always been very, very satisfying and gratifying. Like, I got my own ego about my stuff, you know what I'm saying? Latyrx Born also has about his. But here's the thing about LB that I think that people don't really realize at first is that as far as Asian American males in music, Latyrx Born is like the most successful pioneer. I mean, I consider myself to be revolutionary and, on the edge and all that, but I'm supporting someone who is arguably more, there's a quality to what Latyrx Born has been able to do that you can't replicate. I don't really care who you are. There's a way that you can only be the first person to step on the moon. Only one person gets to do that. You know what I mean? And it's like outside of Don Ho, this guy got the most records.
I was about to cry and like give you a giant hug, and then the Don Ho reference came in.
But I'm just saying, so when you talk about diversity, and that's true in a lot of ways for the Bay Area and a lot of artists from here, but also for this man individually and in particular. And so I just want to point that out.
Well, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you. And, the same I could say. I mean, he's been such an inspiration to me, and what a great friend just over the years. We're talking about 30 years of making records together, and 30 plus years of friendship. And I think that, I don't know if that's what we were going to turn this into today, but
but it's true.
It is true. It is true. And when you hear about a lot of people that, again, it's just sort of a case study in how like-minded people from very different backgrounds, perceived very, very different backgrounds, can come together and really achieve a common goal. I mean, that's sort of been our ethos from day one, even if we didn't know how to articulate it. And I'm glad that you just did just there. I mean, that was beautiful. Thank you, Lateef.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. and I'm also, and I'll just say this as far as what he's talking about is, like we make music together. We still make songs together all the time. We're working on a song right now. But, our mastery of music is such that we don't have to talk about that much. Hey, I got a song. Here's the concept. I know you know what you're doing. How's the wife? How's Teo? How's the kid? How's your mom doing? That's the basis of our relationship, is the friendship. If something happened and I couldn't perform or couldn't do this art part, and he couldn't, it wouldn't change our relationship. Our relationship's not based on that. And I think that that's one of the reasons that we're able to work together for so long. I see other artists sometimes, they have some kind of weird resentment and stuff, and we just don't have that. We've always been supportive of each other's growth. Constant elevation is cause of expansion, and we support each other's expansion. Yeah.
I would be remiss not to ask about Gab, Gift of Gab, incredible MC from Blackalicious, died 2 years ago. I wonder if you each might want to share a short story about him, something that illustrates who he was, or something that people might not know about him.
I have one. I'll tell you all about. It's not really who Gab was. He was a lot of different things at different points in. You got to think. We're talking about 30-year relationships. So I've been like 10 different people, in that time. But I can tell you who he was when I first met him. I can tell you about the first time I met Gab. First time I met Gab, the Cheez-It terrorist, Kyle Powell, introduced us. He's referenced and is on the first Blackalicious Melodica EP. He introduced me to Jazzbo, and Jazzbo introduced me to Gab. As soon as Jazzbo heard me rap, he was like, "You got to meet Gab." So at KDVS, there were listening rooms, and we would go in with these huge stacks of records. We would just go pick instrumentals that we liked, and we'd play them and freestyle over all the instrumentals. So I meet Gab. we didn't really talk a lot, but we get this stack of records and we go in there, we start listening, and we start freestyling. Let's go. Very kind of, MC confrontational. And over the course of listening to all of these records and freestyle, and occasionally we get to a record, be like, oh, what so-and-so, the verse on this song, or the verse on that song, or listen to this style. And then we would rap over the instrumental. And I think we started around 4 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, we had run out of all the little herb I was selling on stage. And it was time to go, you know what I mean, at that time. And so we walked across the quad rapping as only like 17-year-olds with no concern about anybody else in the world can do. Just full volume, just waking people up. We didn't care. We're just walking through rapping. We go to the room, we get some more stuff, we come back rapping. Up in the halls. I lived on the quiet floor. We were rapping. We were rapping. We went all the way back, and we were rapping until like 4 or 5 in the morning. And we were just, the first time that I met Gab, we literally rapped for like 12 hours straight.
But,
I've never
hardly
done that with
talking
somebody
to
else.
each other. Hardly talking to each other. Wow.
Really, and the communication was all via music and hip hop and values, and we like this song, we like this. That was it.
Wow, incredible. What about you?
He was and continues. I mean, you're talking to 2-3 decade veterans of the music business who have toured the world dozens of times over, still on tour, been around probably every name that you guys can think of, particularly in that era. And I can just honestly say he was the most naturally gifted, skilled, superior, genius, virtuoso, poet, rapper, MC, songwriter that I've ever seen with, like, in person. You know what I mean? Like, literally, like, as close as we are right here rapping.
Right.
Like, right, just on any couch, any stage. And I just remember first meeting him, I was like, we started playing instrumentals, we started rapping, and from word one, I was like, this dude's 100,000 times better than me. And just like, at that time, yeah.
Well, you learned from it.
Yeah, at that time. I mean, I just remember that moment very clearly, and I was just like, my body language went from this to this. I mean,
Yeah.
and that never stopped.
Yeah.
That his journey and his, I guess you would call it a quest.
Yeah.
That's the type of guy he was. He didn't care about money. He didn't care about material trappings. He just didn't care. He had questions that needed to be answered, and that's how he lived his life.
That's really poignant. Gift to Gab, Blackalicious. If none of you know, look up Blackalicious. Really, like, just incredible records. Let's see. While we're talking about other people, let's end this on a big Bay Area note. Let's say that aliens come and land on Lake Merritt, and
Definitely your question.
they say.
What's up, Lateef?
And they come out of their spaceship and they say, we want to learn about Bay Area hip hop. And you give them 3 albums to take back to planet Zygorf.
Wow.
From the Bay?
Yeah, don't overthink it. Just like 3 albums that come to the top of your mind.
Don't overthink it. Wow. See, okay. That's crazy. Because that's a long time, too. You're talking about like 3 records over, years and years and years and years. I mean,
Yeah.
how am I going to not send them with the Sly and the, the Sly?
Fly in the Family
I
Stone.
mean, come on. I mean,
That's really tough.
that's tough.
That's really
3
tough.
albums
3
for
hip hop
all
albums or
Bay Area
Bay
hip hop.
Area
album.
hip hop? Yeah.
Bay Area hip hop.
That helps a little.
Representative of Bay Area hip hop.
Representative. I would.
Latyrx, the album.
Okay, we'll go with that. It's one.
Give them your own album.
That's
Come on.
weird, though. You know, that's going to be a hard. You know, there's not a lot of stuff like that. I would say maybe 415.
Oh, yeah.
I would say 415 would give you an idea of what the Bay Area sounds like and a bunch of values that are still values in the Bay Area, whether you like them or not, you know, or agree with them or not. I would say that would be one record. Let me think.
You got one, Tom?
You know, I would have to say Too Short, Born to Mac.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's a good one.
Was that all three?
That's two. Yeah, and then ours.
And then
what two?
yours.
You got off easy.
Can I name like a few
Please,
more?
yeah.
In no particular. I would have to say probably Souls of Mischief, 93 Till Infinity.
Yes.
I would have to say Black Alicious Nia, probably. Any Coup album, really, you know, which we don't. I don't think those albums get mentioned enough.
Yeah.
Because of just you know the angle that Boots always had, you know, that which kind of represents that sort of free thought, that Bay Area
Very Bay
free,
Area,
right? In a major way, E40.
Yeah.
Put that on.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I know I'm going long here, but
I approve of these choices.
okay, Lateef approves.
I support this.
That's what comes.
I would say something from Dangerous Dame, maybe. He was a big influence on me early on.
Yeah. Dangerous Dame.
Maybe I Wish My Brother George was here.
Yes.
Adele, maybe.
This is, you know, we're getting like.
We're getting in there now. Paris.
We're getting
Capital
like
Tax.
Dell and Too Short and Capital Tax and, you know. Anyway, I hope that some of you look up these records and understand just how important and special Bay Area hip hop has been, is now, and will continue to be. So that's My Word is our series. It's running all year at bayareahiphop.com, and it has been an absolute honor, you two. Everybody give it up for Latyrx!
Thank you.